familiar language I can hear.
Meet Kassim Kayira, a former BBC journalist who swapped breaking news for chickens.
Well, I was in the BBC for nearly 2 decades. I was there for 17 years. There's something very blinding about a 9-to-5 job.
After almost 20 years in journalism, he found a new passion that gave him the freedom he had been looking for and a steady income too.
Beyond the journalism, I had serious passion for farming. Chickens were sort of a natural go-to in terms of not only providing quick meat, but they are also providing cash flow.
One of the best breeds that can give you this kind of freedom, it's actually the local birds. Every morning they are opened, to just scavenge outside. There isn't much here, there's just a bit of grass.
The local chickens were just sort of saying, I'm selling to someone something that I can also consume.
In this video, we'll also explore how he navigated the challenges and what his big dreams for the future look like.
This one I'm throwing in the water. Hey, you should be careful, watch out. So Mr. Kassim, from BBC mice to chicken coops, what made you switch the headlines to hens?
Oh, that's a very interesting way of putting it. Well, I was in the BBC for 2 decades, 3 years short of 2 decades. That's a very long time to stay in a job. One of the things that informed my decision to sort of move very quickly is I was looking at some of the old guards within the BBC, guys that have been there 30 years, 40 years, and they go to retirement time, they are given their pension package, and they don't know where to start from. There's something very blinding about a 9-to-5 job. Although journalism, of course, is more than 9 to 5, it's almost 24 hours, 7 days. There's a way you are cushioned because you're in office, you go, you do a story, you come back, you produce the story, it's aired, you are back to the field. Before you know it, 40 years have just gone by. A lot of times, many journalists now become so shrouded into this kind of world that they miss out on what else is happening outside. So some will be lucky if you, for example, the BBC now, that's quite high up. But if you're in a local media, chances are you're not making a lot of money. Before you know it, you'll have a name, but that name fades away almost as soon as you retire or you leave the job, you lose the job. So my thinking was I needed something. I had a passion. Beyond the journalism, I had serious passion for farming. And why chickens? I think I have quite a number of small other investments, some long-term. So if you go, for example, into fruits, which we are doing very diligently, we've gone into pawpaws, we've tried with bananas, we are doing mangoes, we are doing jackfruit. These are things that take time. You're looking at 2 years, 3 years before you can start harvesting seriously. In between that, where do you get the money to sustain, to pay workers, to do whatever? You need cash flow. Chickens were sort of a natural go-to in terms of not only providing quick meat, but they are also providing cash flow, so you can have money coming in all the time. You've just come out of Ramadan and Eid, very busy times, and therefore you're looking at, how do I scale up? And you're getting some money that is coming in to help with other things. I've got family back in Europe, and while I'm here, they're still able to see that I'm doing this, and there should be money sort of going back there. So all of this, it was really so much about cash flow. So that informed my decision to sort of go into this, because I was thinking I need some money running through my hands while I'm waiting, for example, on the cows, on the goats. I sell goats and sheep only once a year, cows and sheep only once a year during the Muslim Eid, festival of Adha. So I only sell once. So within the 11 months, what are you sort of doing? So you need the cash flow, and therefore chickens were sort of a natural way to go.
What really made you choose this kind of breed? And how many birds did you start with?
Local breeds, less problems. They'll be eating, yes, and we decided to feed them the right way. So in other words, just like you would be feeding the layers and the croilers and so on, while being local. And you see the difference. To tell you that these are 4 months, 4.5 months, is unbelievable, seeing how quickly they've grown. So if you feed them well, they will give you what you're looking for. The decision was quite easy because, well, again, like I said, it was about cash flow. But I was also looking at sustainability. I don't like broilers. Yeah, I don't like these we call them in French, it's pondés. Pondés is like the soft chicken. Yes, it's no offense to those who eat them, but I've grown up around local chicken and I have a lot of respect for that. I love the meat, it's hard meat. that even in Europe, it's actually rare for me to eat like the broilers. We look for what is called hard chicken. A lot of it comes from Belgium and from Turkey. Yeah, so that's where I would go for this, which is relatively more expensive than the other chicken, but because I wanted the hard chicken. So the local chickens, we are just sort of saying, I'm selling to someone something that I can also consume. And I'm not envisaging myself eating a broiler. So if it is local chicken, then I should be selling to someone what. And then of course now the advantages that they tell you about, they will not get too much sickly. The alternatives to foods, you know, you can see now we open them, you've just been outside, you've seen, they'll come and clear up the ground. You can even use your uneaten food, leftovers, which you can actually mix into the feed. So there are all those alternatives that you can play around. And I think that really comes in handy with the local chicken. We started with 500 and we are building that up. We wanted to come into this as a very serious business. Yeah. God willing, we are getting our own incubator, so we are going to be hatching, because from here, and it's going to be expensive because while the incubator was not that very expensive, it was not cheap, but it was not that very expensive. The expensive bit comes in at the point where, because we just decided to be off grid, we don't have any electricity like coming from the national grid. We are on our solars, we are using our solar panels, and so wiring an incubator 10,000 capacity onto a solar system means you're paying almost 5.6 million just on the installation bit, and while you're buying the incubator at about 3.6. So you end up about 9 million just going into the machine. But you are independent because you don't have to worry about buying fuel, you don't have to worry about electricity going the way it has started again now disappearing. So you're getting rid of all of that. So we want to scale, and God willing, so we are putting it at a level where also we are doing 3 levels of cells. So we did the day-old chicks. Many people fear the day-old because of how fragile they are. And they want to come into farming, they are thinking 1 day old, I cannot sleep, I'll just be in trouble. So we are hoping, inshallah, we do the day old, we do the month old, that's the brooded chicken. So we will keep the chickens in the brooder and then we sell them. Of course, the price increases and that helps, but then it means then you can allow more people to sort of have the flexibility to do that. And then while we are selling the adult chickens as well. And then we are selling the eggs as well. So actually, this month, inshallah, very soon our laying boxes are coming in tomorrow. So we are getting ready now for the hens to start laying.
Did you say they are, how old are they?
These are 4.5 months now. They're just hitting 4.5 months.
About start laying?
Yes, to start
wow.
laying. Normally it's around 4.5 months. That's why we were looking at, inshallah.
Mr. Kassim, I know you must have been very, very prepared when you started this venture.
You can say that.
But my concern is, you know, one of the continuous expenses on the farm, it's feeds. And, you know, this is no secret at all. So how have you been able, or how are you going about the issue of feeds with this continuous hiking of the prices? How are you dealing with it?
God has his ways. I mean, I don't know how we would have managed. Regardless of the level of preparation, I don't know how we would have managed. Why? Because we started at a time when the maize prices, we were saying we are hitting the ground on 4th December, launch in. And as we are launching in, the price of maize now starts going crazy. It's shooting through the roof. It's been non-stop. We were lucky because I've got, this is the smaller of the 2 farms that we have. This farm sits on 15 acres. Then we've got another farm, which is more than 100 acres. So it's much bigger. And then because we cannot use the entire land on the big farm, as a way of opening up the farm, we brought in people to rent the land. So they do like 2 seasons, then we move them from that area to another area. And instead of paying money, they pay us in the produce. So we ended up with nearly 3 tons of maize that was coming from Mpoza, from the farmers. And it was a very good season last year, alhamdulillah. The rains came in, they got very good harvests. So we ended up just shy of 3 tons. That came in pretty handy. I cannot tell you how much of a difference that made. And it actually came in exactly as we were starting the chicken project. So other than the month of March, towards end of March into April. That's where now we've started feeling the pinch because the maize has run out. We have to practically buy.
And the season came in late, the rains.
Yeah, the rains came in late. We've tried to plant our own, but we have also now decided to do something else. All the farmers that we are leasing our land, we are buying exactly from them. So we have agreed a price, a fixed price. We are saying you're going to buy your maize at this given price. We are buying it even before you've planted it. We have even taken it one step. I got some very good variety from a neighboring country of maize that grows pretty fast. And I'm providing it to the farmers to make sure they don't have an excuse of I was late with the seeds, so that we are guaranteed. One, we are giving them that, then we are buying off them. And that hopefully should help us now mitigate this kind of situation. In the meantime, it's a big struggle. But we've also found an alternative now, which is how to cope, because the cocks are all ready now. The cocks are ready to go out. We've already started selling. Around Eid we sold a few.
How many are they?
These are 500. 390, nearly 400. Yeah, so that's quite a number. So and we are intending now, once the laying starts, we'll just start going to the hatchery straight away. We're going to make sure we are doing that so that we have a constant supply. Yeah, so we need to get rid of the cocks, which is now problematic at the moment, because anytime you keep a cock beyond the 4.5 months, it's really very expensive. So we were hoping that once we sell the cocks, then we are able now to feed the hens, which give us the eggs and the chicks. But we have also come up with another alternative, which is actually slaughtering, dressing the chickens.
Okay.
Put them in a freezer, package them nicely.
So, I mean, I knew this about broilers.
Yeah.
You're going to do?
Oh yeah, we're going to do that because we know our chicken is very good. It's been fed on very good food. And instead of keeping them longer than they should be, then you are better off. We will continue selling some that, live, but we are going to definitely be considering quite strongly packaging, so slaughtering and then freezing them. So we've got already our freezer that is going to be handling that, and we are getting checkpoints. We've already entered into an arrangement with a restaurant in town, and that restaurant is going to be selling not only our dressed chickens, but also the live chickens. So we are getting chicken mesh there. We are putting another one in Kalule. We are putting another one in Matuga, just as a way of sort of opening up all those options. So for our customers, it should be easier. They shouldn't feel like obliged. Because the person who is in Entebbe, for example, might find it easier to get to Munyonyo than it would be to come to Kalule. Yeah, although we can deliver as well if it's good numbers. If someone is buying like 10, 15, then that covers the fuel. You can afford to be able to go there. But it's been quite, I don't know how it would have been if we had gone in and we didn't have the option of the feeds. It's really, the feeds are just a nightmare. I mean, like every week now here we go through nearly 400 kilograms of feeds. So put that just on a mixed feed to about around 1,600, 1,700. Do the maths and you just see where you're at. Whether you can make the money back, that's a different thing. But this was mainly for the cash flow, and I think we are looking at it as as our main cash cow. Yes.
Interesting. When you enter in Mr. Kassim's farm, you would imagine everything so smooth, you just feel this tranquility at the farm and the fun. Could there be any challenges that you are facing along the way?
Well, the main challenge is feeds, especially now. But other than that, I think we took so many YouTube lessons. We were watching so many YouTube videos from across the world. You look at Ghana, you look at Philippines, you look at Uganda mainly because we were coming in for the local chicken, and then you are looking at the Kenyans and you're making comparisons. And so a lot of time went into that. That has really contributed quite significantly, I think, on our own knowledge in terms of how to deal with it. Although I had a lot of knowledge with the local birds, I was cautious introducing, for example, the mururuza or the yam leaves or the pawpaw leaves. You see, we've got a couple of pawpaws, but then once we got to month 3.5, we were beginning to build the confidence because we had very few fatalities. I think we lost about 4 or 5 chicks. And that was, very negligible from the numbers that we were hearing. That was luck. But we followed every procedure. We had a vaccination sheet that we followed to the letter, all the way up to when we completed the vaccinations. So that gave us a bit of confidence, and we were seeing that reflected now in terms of how we were seeing the birds doing. And they were responding to us. So that pushed us. And then because they were being fed well and then vaccinated in time, that helped us. So around the 3rd month, 3.5 months, we started introducing the greens. And it's amazing. It's amazing just to see how you mix them in the feeds and they disappear. You come back and there's not a single leaf on the floor. That really speaks volumes. So we are hoping, God willing, our eggs should have the yellow yolk that we are aiming for. Yes.
When you reach at Mr. Kassim's farm, you really think poultry is never under stress. It's just smooth. So could you kindly share with us some of the tips on how you manage your farm so efficiently and effectively that someone doesn't feel the stress when they enter into your farm?
Well, I thank God. I've had, my son, first of all, with whom we've been doing farming with my father, because we latched into this. This was the first time. I mean, I've had chickens all my life.
Someone who might think you've been doing this.
No, we've had chickens, but they are the ones that are on free range. In fact, when you go out, you'll find some that we have for the visitors. So now that you've arrived, one might be already making its way to the charcoal stove. So we have those ones, which you slaughter very quickly and you avail. And we allowed those ones to remain on the free range that they have been. You can see them looking through the chain links and sort of looking at these ones and sort of saying you are prisoners. But at the same time, these ones seem to be speaking to them to say we have guarantee of food and you have to scavenge for yours. So that's been one thing. But having a team around you. Mahmoud, who we just saw sort of feeding the birds, this is his first time actually also looking after chickens. Because we went for training on the same day. So I took my son, I took Mahmoud to the training for the chickens.
Was for how long?
But just a day.
A day?
Yeah, but we had done, like I said, I had about 6-7 months of YouTube training. So the other one was just the practical aspects where you see reality now beginning to shape up. But we just had a day's training. And then, of course, because we keep going back to these notes, we say, we are seeing this, what do we need to do? We've seen a bit of diarrhea, because now as you're moving, you're sort of checking. You look at the droppings, if you see a bit of diarrhea, or a bit of brown coccidiosis shouting. But now we've started introducing now local herbs that are very interesting. Things like charcoal ash, the Vaccination. Yeah, you're getting it and sieving it, and we've tried it like 3 times, and then suddenly you see a cleanup.
If you interact with the vets, they be like, it's not, there is no facts about the effectiveness of the herbs.
Yes. Which is, to me, initially when we were like in month 1, month 2, like I said, month 3, we were very cautious. We see that, we just go then, you bring Amproline or any other names, other drugs available. We provide, and then we see a change. We've been actually now then we have a steady flow of water, because if you are going into farming of any sort, water is a must. It's like a godsend, and we are lucky. I mean, we've had rain, so we were using rainwater initially. We were lucky we didn't have any.
Were you treating it?
No, we're using Virokill. Yeah, so we just put a little bit of the Virokill into the water because it was rainwater. But now we've had our own borehole dug. We have solar water pumping. We have capacity to pump 5,600 liters every day, and we could double that. So that was like the game changer. I was surprised. These chickens that you see here, they consume 280 liters of water every day. Who would have imagined that like local chicken especially drink water? Especially when we are used to you are washing your dishes, and then they come, they sip a little bit, you hit it, and it just runs away. You'd never imagine like a local chicken, for example, taking that much water. 280 liters, and I'm sure we will hit 300 very soon, because you get to a point where you see it's not enough. So availability of water, even if the feeds, because we feed twice a day, but we make sure there's just constance of water. There's just enough water. And then the feeds, you cannot do any shortcuts with feeds. If you do shortcuts, then you start seeing it reflected in the hens. You can see, how healthy they actually look. So it's been the care. So having the right staff, people who are committed to it. Mahmoud comes in here and you can see there's a love. And the chickens know it. They feel it. You will come in here and they know. This is someone who brings instructions. This is someone who brings food. They know. And it's amazing just to start learning chicken patterns and chicken language. Yeah, and that has been quite, like handy. Water, good stuff, timings. Do not change the timings. So if you're feeding at 7 and then at midday, just make sure that is consistent. That consistency now brings in, betterment in terms of growth and development.
Okay. From the way you're speaking, it's like everything is just on the fingertips, the numbers, and how are you able to have memory of all that?
Well, I've been stuck here since the 30th of November. I've hardly left the farm. I have got a home in Entebbe, which is our main family home, but I've slept there 4 times since November. 4 times. And that tells you, like what that actually means. I came in, I just said my farmhouse, yes, it is a farmhouse. We are going to make it livable and I have to, camp here. Came here, sat down, put all my effort, put all my knowledge, and then you have internet, so you are interacting with other things at the same time. And that helps to keep you abreast with what else is happening elsewhere. And that comes in quite handy. So it's not, there will be issues here and there, but when you know, because for example, now I panic with the feeds. If the feeds are running out, you're worried. Yeah. You have to see how quickly do I get the feeds in. Yesterday I left the farm and there were no feeds, so the feeding time was delayed. The hens were not very happy. But I had to go to the mill to go and pick up. I pick up and then I do my own mixing, because if you don't mix, you don't know what. You don't know what what goes into the feeds. So if I'm getting broken maize, if I'm getting my maize bran, I'm getting all of that, getting the concentrate, getting the ratios right, getting the lime in, and then I know what I'm feeding. At which rate then you know what the chickens have actually taken in, and that I think helps as well to know just how much you're feeding in. So there's a panic there. There are panicky moments when the feeds are running out. But you also have to worry about the market as well. Because the market now, the good thing is we are very well connected online. So you have a lot of social capital, social media people. And therefore I'm using that now. So it appeals to people watching this, people out there elsewhere. Unless you sell, you cannot progress.
Because actually so they say when you're taking on the poultry farming training, yes, the very first thing you should consider...
Look for the market. Yes, and you grow for the market. I think I had a bit of that, but I was counting so much on my social media friendships. With TikTok now, we've gone crazy. You have a lot of following, you have a lot of people asking. Some people are far off, but then that's where now the slaughtering, like doing the dressed chicken is going to come in handy, because it means you can keep it for much longer. You can avail it to someone much easily, and therefore, like someone can have it ready to just start cooking. So all of these now sort of shaping up our decisions in terms of where do we go from here in terms of that. So that will be one way of sort of selling them off, because it adds value. It will have taken, we can keep the feathers, which we are going to use for something else. Yeah. The one thing about farming that is quite interesting is how one thing feeds to another. You find this is chicken poo, but I've been to Kenya, and in Kenya they get the chicken poo, they use a sieve. They sieve the chicken poo and it is fed to cows. Fantastic, it becomes part of the dairy meal, and the cows are performing well. So that's already one thing we are considering. We are going to do a trial and see, these ones are fully pregnant, our cows now. We don't want to disrupt the process. So we just want to, probably in a week's time, 2 weeks' time, they will be delivering. So that opens us now into a new sector altogether.
Okay, yeah. Interesting. I know most of you are there wondering, Mr. Kassim, he was there at the EPTOM, yeah, like BBC, UK, and every Ugandan here, when you mention UK, be like, I would love to go there. What's your last inspiration about people who are looking at greener pastures, who are thinking there is greener pastures outside Uganda or abroad, like in Western countries, like there is constant mobility of people flowing from Uganda going abroad? Which word do you have for them, or what's your take on that?
The world is fast changing. When you see presidentships like Trump's, and you see how he's treating migrants, that starts giving you second thoughts about it. But going abroad is very good, because it provides the very badly needed capital. It's just that with some people, you'll find that they've spent $5,000 on a trip to go to UK. $5,000 is about 20 million Uganda shillings. That's a huge amount of money that could establish something for you like this. Some people sell their lands, family lands, and then, you know, run off to go and then go and start all over again to come and buy again a 50 by 100 when they sold 4 acres to go. It's a painful experience. The one beautiful thing about abroad is it provides you that capital. And whoever can go and get the capital, go and know that you have just gone for the capital. Money is here. It is unbelievable. Wallahi, if I had a way of explaining to someone how much money is here, it is unbelievable. And then the cost of living. You live abroad, yes, you'll be getting a lot of money, but you're also spending extraordinarily. My children cannot understand how they are living in a house where they don't have to pay any rent. You're living in a house where they don't have to buy any electricity. They don't have to buy any water because you've made the improvisations. There are a few things that you can start with, and do not wait to be big. And when you look at someone who has done something big, sometimes it scares you, which I don't think is fair. Look at your own level, like move in your own lane. You have a 50 by 100, that's a good start. Start with that, work upon it, and make sure that you can make the best of it. Start somewhere, whatever you do, start. But use going abroad now as a way of getting capital. Do not overstay abroad. You come back, there are people who are now scared of coming back home. They've been away too long. You come and check on what people are doing back home. You feel so ashamed that you don't have anything, and that stops you from coming. Whoever is watching me from abroad, don't worry. If you have your small land, just start. In Uganda, in Africa in general, if you can survive 6 months of being away from your base, wherever country you are in, you will survive. And if we survived harder times as we were growing up, how can we fail now to survive these times when you even have something to start with? So it's really serious food for thought. Times are very much changing. There is nothing like quality of life. I was on medication. I had been given medication now for my blood pressure, blah, blah. And I didn't have any blood pressure, but I was getting, my pressure coming up all the time. Since I moved here, I've not taken a tablet, and my blood pressure is so well. There are these little things that change. The amount of pressures abroad are so huge. There's too much. Yeah, people back home calling you, where is a Kassim, this one doing this. So you end up now struggling so much. Here, if you can come back home, start. Don't just jump ship. I can't encourage anyone to just come, because if you are not prepared, then you'll struggle. But start slowly. Take 3 months leave. Come and start up something and see how those 3 months survive. Come back, ask for 6 months leave, unpaid leave. Take that time and see how it goes. You are building up momentum that is going to come in quite handy when the right time comes. But whatever you do, start. Start, do not. Every little money, you look at £100 and you see how far that goes. In UK, £100 does not even fill a trolley of shopping. That is 460,000 Uganda shillings at the moment. That cannot fill a trolley for shopping.
There's a family that can survive on that here for a year.
No, that's what I'm telling you. You come here and you just see all the nice things, all the organic things that are around you, the fresh air. I mean, you get here, I'm struggling to get off the farm now. You really struggle to get me out of here. Because I come here, I see the fresh air you're getting. You're here, person turns up, they brought, hey Haji, the bananas are ripe. You start eating and they feed on the bananas. Oh Haji, the dodo is right. They bring the dodo. Skuma wiki is there, go. You see the farm garden here, the farm kitchen garden. There now you've placed the sort of the quick things. You go for your mint, you go for, everything is within reach. These are things that we take for granted, and we shouldn't. So my message finally is, please, whatever you do, start something, however small. You don't have to do chickens, you might want cows. You don't have to do cows, you might do sheep. You might do ducks, which do not have problems. Where chickens get sick, ducks don't get sick. Start with your ducks. People are opening up now to eating duck meat. That means now you have a market coming up. Farm, you have your 50 by 100, you are not yet ready to use it. Throw in some star fruit and wait. So yeah, that's really the strong message.
And that's a wrap on our conversation with the most prominent BBC journalist, Mr. Kassim Kayira. Until next time, see you in the next video.